So the Midas motif, when it binds that divalent cation, the purpose of that Midas motif is for protein-to-protein interaction. What's the protein here? Well, the subunits of the calcium channels are the proteins. So where we get into I'll bring up the picture of the soma of the neuron and the rough endoplasmic reticulum. It's called rough because the little bumps on it are the ribosomes. The ribosomes is what translate the RNA into the proteins. And the proteins in this example are the alpha-1 subunit, the actual pore of the calcium channel that allows the calcium in, the beta subunit, the gamma subunit, the alpha-2 delta subunit. Those are just, of course it makes more proteins than just that, but those are the proteins, what we're talking about, to make up the calcium channel. They're made in that rough endoplasmic reticulum, all right? Well, that perfect Midas motif with the divalent cation, let's just say magnesium in this case, it facilitates the binding of the alpha-1 subunit to the alpha-2 delta subunit in that rough endoplasmic reticulum. The proteins are made separately, but in that rough ER, they're put together into the actual calcium channel. And then from there, in that cell body, it can be packaged into vesicles and then moved through the neuron to wherever it needs to go. We're taking gabapentin, and it binds to those arginine amino acids right by that von Willebrand factor A, and then it negatively impacts the perfect Midas motif. Well, then what could happen? Well, in the rough endoplasmic reticulum, maybe the alpha-1 and the alpha-2 delta subunit, they don't bind properly. Well, if they don't bind properly, then there are ways that the neuron could say, oh, this is defective VGCC, get rid of it, remove it. And so you may not have as many VGCCs that are being produced, potentially. Well, if you're taking gabapentin and there's already VGCCs in the cell membrane, it could bind to those arginine amino acids there, right by that von Willebrand factor A and the alpha-2 delta subunit, and then it can impact the functionality of the voltage-gated calcium channel there in the membrane already. Another thing to keep in mind is the VGCCs in the membrane are very dynamic. Okay, an example would be neuron activity. If particular neurons are not being used as much, well, the neuron may not need all those VGCCs in the cell membrane, so it can actually internalize those VGCCs and say, well, we don't need as many. We're not being used as much. This is inefficient. Take them in. It could be the age of the VGCCs. These are proteins, so these are essentially strings of amino acids that are folded to create these three-dimensional constructs that make up this VGCC. Well, after a time, as they get old, they can start to unfold, and then they're not as effective as they were before. And it could potentially recycle the VGCCs, which we're going to talk about here in a sec. It could also completely destroy the VGCCs via lysosomes or something. Well, gabapentin can negatively affect recycling proteins to where the VGCCs are not recycled, at least not as much, and then maybe directed to be destroyed. So those are just a few reasons and a few examples of how gabapentin could decrease the number of voltage-gated calcium channels in the cell membrane, which ultimately reduces the amount of calcium that comes into the neuron, which then reduces the amount of neurotransmitters being released, which then reduces neuron activity. Why? And so it's bad for the VGCCs, but it's good for the people taking the medication. Why is that the case? Well, gabapentin it was created, I believe, as an anticonvulsant for people with epilepsy where they're getting seizures due to overactivity of the brain. Well, if you're reducing the calcium channels, which reduces the neurotransmitter release, which reduces the neuron activity, well, now you're reducing the activity of the brain, so it could help with seizures. It is also used for nerve pain. So if somebody has diabetes, where it's damaged their nerves and it's causing pain. It's also used for people who've had shingles. I've known people who had shingles before, and I've heard it is very, very painful. All right, it's nerve damage. All right, so it can help with nerve pain? Well, again, if you're reducing the number of VGCCs at the cell membrane, which reduces the amount of calcium coming in, which reduces the neurotransmitter release, which reduces neuron activity, well, then you're going to reduce nerve pain as well. All right. The thing is that gabapentin, it's not fast acting. Based on what I've read, it takes like a few weeks for it to take effect. But that's basically the use cases for it. So that's all I can think of, folks. I think that pretty much covers, again, I didn't make an outline, so that's all I remember what I wanted to talk about. So thank you again, Soul Alchemist, for the question. It's a great question. It's a really, really good question. We covered a lot of information in this. And so please, anybody out there, if you know about this topic, it's not hard to know more than I do, folks. But if you know about this and you're like, hey, Howard, no, that's not correct. You need to this, whatever is wrong. Maybe the whole episode's wrong. I don't know. Let me know. I am here to learn, and I'm here to spread what I learned to you all, to hopefully you learn something. Hopefully I get something right at least. But I'm here to learn, so if I get something wrong, let me know, because I'll do my best to make corrections when I catch them. But if I miss them, I'm depending on you too, folks, to tell me what I get wrong, and I'll be the first one to come on here and say, whoa, I messed up. Like, here's the correct information. Thank you, Bob in Cincinnati, whatever, for correcting me on that. So let me know. If you have any questions, hit me up. I mean, Soul Alchemist, I think they asked me this question like a month ago from when I'm recording this. It takes a while. I mean, you could see all the information that I provided in this. It takes a while for me to do the research. I do not take any questions you have lightly. I want to take my time and drill as deep as I can until my brain's like, Howard, you have no idea what you're talking about. Which happened during this episode. I'm like, oh, I was racking my brain like, what does this mean? The Midas motif. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't even know if I got it right, but I think to the best of my knowledge, I think I got close at least. But I do a lot of legwork, and it takes a lot of work to make these episodes, because I'm not a professional at this, folks. I'm in IT by day, folks. That's my profession is IT, all right? So, I just enjoy learning about this stuff. So, I spend the time reading about it, and I find it fascinating. So it's a little bit harder to understand because I don't understand. It's not my profession. I'm not professionally schooled at this stuff. The point is, ask your questions. It may take me a while to respond, but I don't forget. I have all your questions. So people have asked before. I will get to you as soon as possible. So with that, I've rambled on more than long enough. It's now 11, it's like 11:30 now. Not as late as I thought it would be, but I'm dead tired. I'm ready to go to bed. 11:30 at night. It's night outside. But I'm ready to get some sleep. I got work in the morning. So with that, thanks for watching or listening. Much love to you all. Please like, subscribe, share, whatever, all that good stuff. Never stop learning, folks. Again, much love. Take care. Adios. I'm out.